Hello, and welcome to Session 0 of Name Redacted. Hopefully everybody watching actually knows the name of the campaign at this point, but the players don't, so we're going to make it a little bit more of a mystery, at least for now. Just to give a overview of the world that I'm running as the Dungeon Master, I'm Andrew. Nice to meet everybody. It's basically a kind of like, it's a pretty standard homebrew. It's got the same pantheon, the same kind of idea that the Forgotten Realms setting does. It's even got similar geography, because right now our intrepid adventurers are on the west coast of a large continent, which I'm sure anyone who is familiar with the Forgotten Realms setting is very familiar with. We've got a bit of interesting house rules. First of all, I'm making everyone count their ammunition and components. One of the most hated rules, but I think it's important. We've got a little bit of a interesting I know a guy kind of role where, depending on if someone has high charisma or intelligence, they can call in an NPC or some fabricated character that they can help them help with whatever interest or activity that they're doing, just to kind of make sure no one gets stuck for too long. We've got 4th edition crits, which means that when you roll a crit, you get maximum damage, and then you roll the damage once again, just to make it so that you're not getting like, oh yeah, I got a crit, and then you roll 2 1s and it feels like shit. Don't like that. Not fun. Something that hasn't come up yet, but probably will, is the 4th edition minionizing monsters, which means every monster that isn't frankly worth keeping track of HP will just have 1, and if they get shot with, the random, they get grazed by a freaking crossbow, they're just going to explode into a million pieces. And that's fine. That's what everyone wants. We want ridiculousness. It's fine.
Mood.
We've got a secret death save thing going, so like anyone who goes unconscious, I will be rolling for their death saves, and I will not be sharing what happens when that happens, and whenever they fail or succeed, that's just what's going to happen. So hopefully everyone is not going to go unconscious. That's really the key to that kind of situation.
So that's the impetus to go save our friends.
Yeah, you don't want to be like, oh, well, he'll be fine, and then maybe not. We've got a combat discussion between rounds thing going on, so I'm going to give them probably about a minute or two in between every end of the round of combat where they can discuss it between themselves, and then when it gets to their turn, they get maybe 10 seconds to say what they want to do. Like, I understand it gets a little hectic, things happen, but that's my method of making sure everything goes along and doesn't get bogged down by discussions, which happens very often in 5th edition. We've also got a random encounter system, which I won't get into too much detail. It's basically just we roll certain rolls. If they match, bam, you get attacked. Ha 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 ha. We've got potions on a bonus action to take them, a action to give them to somebody else, just because I feel like as much as the action economy is very important, taking a potion shouldn't really take an entire 6 seconds if you're just backing a potion. Second to last one, click rule, which I'm sure many people are also familiar with, is whenever a trap or something happens, I will either say a click or some form of onomatopoeia that would give away what's happening, and then they get to react in certain ways. Hopefully not like that, because if you did that while the trap went off, you'd probably die. Like, you might have disadvantage if you do that. And then the final one, we're going back to the 3.5 version of getting feats and ASIs, ability score improvements. I never really liked the whole, if you multi-class, then you lose out on an ability score increase. It just kind of ruins the idea of turning your character into what you want it to be. So, none of that. You get it at 4th, you get it at 8th, 12th, 16th, and then if you're a fighter or a rogue, you get it when you're supposed to for that anyway, so it's fine. The other huge house rule, I guess you could call it, more of a campaign setting rule, is there's a Arcane Imbalance throughout the world. So anytime there's a spell being cast or something is being channeled from somewhere outside of the material realm, there's a chance that it could go either much better than expected or horribly, horribly wrong. And there have been a few horribly, horribly wrong things, particularly with something. One time, our players had a healing spell that turned into lightning, which was not as helpful as you would think.
Especially when you're making death saves.
And that wasn't even when we were doing secret death saves yet. We were still letting you guys roll for that. No
And
longer.
our cleric was doing death saves, so we were like, how do we help these people?
There's no way to do it. Besides that, the setting is in a very, I want to say, classically decaying world. There's been countless civilizations that have risen and fallen, and throughout all of the episodes, you're going to hear me talk about the ruins, how it's interact with things, how the world has been scarred, and how the world is kind of not having a great time. There's a lot of interesting phenomena going around that isn't quite explained, and I will go into that more likely when I'm describing it to the characters in the actual episodes, as opposed to going through all of the things that happened right now. The only real one we need to worry about is the Arbor Chill, which is a very much dangerous fog that rolls into the starting town of Cliffhaven that everyone must be inside for, otherwise they are in very, very high risk of freezing to death as the temperatures drop precipitously. It's a big problem for a port town like that, so there's a lot of importance put into that. And as for that, that's really the only important things for the setting so far that need to be addressed in the session 1. What we're going to do now is go around clockwise from me. Don't worry about it too much if you guys haven't gotten the
I'm clockwise.
You are clockwise for me, yes. We're going to go around, and everyone's going to give a little bit of a background to their character and a little bit of flavor so that you guys, if you haven't already gotten to know them through the other episodes that we put out, here's a little bit of backstory.
All right, so I'll start. I'm John, and I play Janus Fudoxith, a Triton male. He is a paladin / sorcerer. We are currently level 4 at this point. Level 3.
You're level 4.
We're at level 4.
Yeah, we turn level 4.
You should be level 4.
You're still level
Oh, you're right.
because you have a level in Paladin.
I'm multi-classed. Hi.
Mm-hmm.
But I play Janus. He's the Triton that he comes from. We've never seen where he's come from yet. But he's from like a kind of a Atlantis type city, and he is he's a son. From what we've discussed, he is the son of a Triton god. So he is a demigod, if you will. But we haven't talked too much yet about his backstory and where he hails from. But he is currently helping out some of the citizens of the village that we've been in, setting up and helping them from the catastrophes that have hit recently. But yes, I am Janus Fudoxith.
I love that. My name is Mary. I play Whisper Yuki. She's a Silver Dragonborn fighter. I subclassed in Rune Knight. She is the heiress of a great fortune. They have not specified what her family does, but some of us have heard of her and are a little bit suspicious of this little princess that thinks she can just traipse around and do things and help people. And her whole deal is that she's going through a lot, but she's a giant brat. Just a fucking bitch. Just an absolute giant fucking loser. And she is self-centered for now. She is self-important for now, but timely and has a great sense of honor and family values despite her standoffish behavior. So it's a balanced character. I'm going to find her really fun. Maybe she'll be a little annoying at first, but I think that she's going to build into a character that'll be fun to listen to.
Excellent. So I'm Nathan Mickelson, and I play Des Arastra in this campaign.
Oh, damn, that guy got a last name? Damn. Holy crap.
How come your mom let you have 2 names?
Jeez, boys.
I'm special, I guess. But, so I play Des. She's a sheriff from a small town that's kind of based on my interpretation of a spaghetti western town. It's got all the quirks and bells and whistles you'd expect from some kind of like old kind of cheesy spaghetti western. It's got like the distillery, a brothel, of course, and there's other little hijinks that happen around there. But she's the sheriff of that town, and she ended up in Cliffhaven. She decided to go adventuring because she wanted to she heard some stories about something beyond the small town of Endersville, and decided to go check it out in Cliffhaven. So she rode along in a caravan and met these lovely people in the process, and has since been adventuring to solve other crimes outside of her small little town.
To clarify, the call to arms and the call to adventure for this particular campaign came from the town of Cliffhaven, who the mayor was asking for adventurers and other types to come and help them with a specific problem they had, which was kobolds kind of encircling and infiltrating the town, and they didn't have quite the guard capacity to deal with it at the time. So that's what they mean when he says wanted to find something. There was a call, and these are the 4 adventurers, 5 at the time, but the adventurers that came together to solve that issue.
And a little bit more just about her, just to kind of close up Des. So she drinks a lot, she smokes just as much, and she's a little rough, but generally well-to-do, lawful, tries to maintain order, tries to do right by people, good-natured, a little rough,
Did you talk about her class and subclass?
Oh, right. She's a Hunter Conclave Ranger. She's level 4, and
her southern accent infects everyone here.
and her southern accent is incredibly infectious.
It's virulent.
Oh, and the hat tips.
The hat tip.
Hat tips.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so yeah, there's a little bit that I do every time we meet somebody new or of note. I make sure to give them a little hat tip. She loves to do the hat tip, and we do a roll to see if somebody is enchanted or disenchanted by this hat tip. So sometimes people are like, "Oh my god, I love you so much. You're my favorite. I want to see you again and see you do the hat tip." Or sometimes they're like, "If you do the hat tip one more time," are we cussing on this?
I already did.
Motherfucker! If I see this hat tip one more time, motherfucker!
This was the question that was asked.
This was our first recording ever, and we got over that hurdle faster than anything I've ever heard. And immediately people were swearing. So yeah, we're
Listen,
swearing.
I'm
If
not
I see
interested
that
if I
hat
can't
tip
cuss.
one more time, motherfucker!
We are earning that E on iTunes.
I need to be able to say fuck.
Also, it's a bit of a running bit. I should also add this. It's a bit of a running bit that there are Andersville somethings out there. Andersville's
Andersville's finest.
they're all-
Andersville's finest
yeah.
somethings.
Yeah, they're all Andersville's finest.
So
Andersville's finest
Andersville,
dirt.
it's
Yeah.
in my head. I rationalized it like it's got a little bit of notes of like a company town. So it's just like it's just got all the bullshit. Like everything's Andersville finest. It's all amazing. It's best quality everything.
Oh God, look out for the Pinkertons.
Oh God, look out for the Pinkerton. I guess I would be closer to the Pinkerton.
You would be the Pinkerton.
I would be the Pinkerton.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
I'll leave it up to Kat here.
So I'm Kat, and I'm playing Addie Groomskiven, and she is an orc, an order domain cleric, and so for her, orcs are a little bit different. Her clan puts a very big impetus on health, so very clean tusks, very gorgeous war braids, and it's very important not to die outside of battle. So healing is important, which is what Addie focuses on. She's a cleric that's part of the Healers Without Borders, the chief combat medic of Healers Without Borders. And she came to Cliffhaven to make sure that everyone who fought in this big troublesome battle was healthy and healed at the end of it, and either died heroically or didn't die at all. And so she puts up with a lot being an orc. People don't particularly like her. Doesn't help that she drinks a lot and is pretty rough and swears, and
She's rather abrasive.
just a bit. And but she's fine with it. And being a 6-foot orc, she has to make herself feel a little bit bigger because she is not a very large orc. but she is in her heart. She's the biggest orc in the room.
And she likes to go around and try to heal diseases.
She does. She heals every disease that
I
every
brought
person
diseases.
has.
Disease for you, my lord.
No, the dragon
Hey,
pox.
she helped an entire family with their dragonpox infection
A fictional infection.
that they absolutely had.
They did not have.
100%. They needed some sensors of incense. It was great.
The sailors seem to like Adi plenty.
They do. They do.
Addie never has to pay for room.
Nope.
Whether or not that has to do with the alcohol or not has yet to be seen.
I think we forgot to bring up that Des is a variant human.
No.
You didn't?
No, because the reason why I didn't do that was because we started with a feat.
Oh yes, that's another house rule that I did not quite cover in the beginning. I gave everybody the variant human bonus feat just for some character customization.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you forgot to mention that Des is a human.
Yeah,
You did forget to mention that.
Oopsies. Des is a human. She's from a town of humans. And, yeah, very much human.
Human.
Kind of mostly humans.
Mostly humans.
Not many orcs, though. They were not a fan.
I went full spaghetti western on it. Like, every time I think of Andrewsville, it is just like, oh, damn it, Sheriff, they came to the town again, they stole all my money. Well, I guess I gotta ride off on my horse and go find them out in the middle of the dust.
We actually did have a couple of sessions where we went out to Andersville and dealt with some red belly bandits, and it was quite the adventure.
Put them in the back of a paddy wagon and everything was great.
That is what happened, and a lot of people died. Probably didn't have to.
Just the normal amount of people.
Also, we should definitely mention that we are lizards and locations, by the way. That is
We probably should have brought that up first.
Yeah, that should have been the first thing.
Well, this was
very experienced in these
It's
arts.
gonna be the
Oh, yeah,
title
we're-
of the thing, so I didn't think it was necessary, but true.
Just point down. It's like, this
Yeah,
is
yeah,
it.
do
This is it, right here.
This is it.
If you couldn't
Well, that's
tell,
the one.
this is the
That's
name of the
This
podcast.
is the thing.
Congratulations.
It's over here.
That's right.
The actual original name of this campaign was Lizards in Locations, and then we
Mhm.
kind of adapted it to Lizards and Locations because we had that sick ampersand sign. Look at that thing. That's so cool.
Thank
Can't
you,
not
Mom.
do it.
Thank you.
Happy to say so.
You can't
I
tell
like-
we're from Florida.
Oh yeah, this is gonna
We're a
be
little bit
some.
Floridian, baby.
We're gonna be
a little Florida man going on here.
If there's one set of people who knows what virulent and infectious things are like, it would be us from Florida. We know all about that.
We know all about it.
Floridians.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a bunch of characters and other things that have come up through the times that haven't quite got to this particular point as far as we've gone. But I'm not going to spoil too many things. There's some characters that don't necessarily need the introduction, and there's others that I'm sure throughout the adventure you'll come to learn about plenty without me telling you all about it in a exposition dump of session 0. But I think that pretty much sums up the group. That sums up the idea of the campaign. That kind of gives you an idea that there's going to be some homebrew stuff going on. That there's going to be some homebrew items. There's going to be some homebrew monsters. There's going to be a little bit of tinkering with the rules just to make sure everything goes smoothly and we all just kind of have fun instead of deadlocking ourselves into, oh, but what if this is the rule? Like, if it is, we'll look it up. We'll get it all set. It won't be a big deal.
Do you want to talk about our party member that, just briefly about...
Big O?
Yeah,
Big O.
she...
Big O?
Big O.
Big O. Yeah, she lived up to that name eventually, yeah? We had a 5th party member
Orgasm.
who was trying out Dungeons & Dragons for the first time,
Oh, no.
obviously before we decided that we were making it into a podcast.
Mhm.
And what we ended up doing was, they just had different ideas what they wanted to do with the character, and they were used to writing novels and short stories. So they didn't have quite the time to commit to a group dynamic where, Dungeons & Dragons, as I'm sure many people also know, takes a lot of time to do. There's a lot of preparing, there's a lot of time. Like you just sit down and you play anything for more than, 2-3 hours. It's a commitment. And they just decided that it wasn't quite for them. and I've since taken over the character. Name is Oradias Lynn. You will hear about her in the first episode. She is there with the party at the moment, along with their other NPC companions. But that's about it. They tried Dungeons & Dragons, and they didn't quite have the drive to continue doing it on a weekly basis, which is kind of the whole point. So yeah, we got a fifth DM NPC. We got a DM NPC for the moment. She's already kind of been quote unquote written out. She's just in the process of becoming written out of the story. At least as a main character, she'll show up.
Yeah. As far as some other announcements too, we'll be releasing a couple other campaigns as well throughout time. So we have Mary, who's DMing Curse of Strahd with a super horror twist on it, incorporating some other systems. And then that one has already taken place a little bit. We've done a few sessions, not too many sessions at all on that one. And we'll get a video out on that one pretty soon. I think probably 4 or 5 sessions.
3 or 4.
3 or 4. 3 to 5.
Something
in that range.
It's written in my notebook, but I'd have to go get it.
Yeah. And then we have another new campaign coming out soon that we're doing, which will be me DMing as Strixhaven. So a syllabus of shenanigans. So we'll have that one coming soon.
I should note
as well
on this that it is ironic because our friend here is an actual teacher. So he's the DM
Everyone's
for
favorite teacher.
school, and he's already a teacher. So I feel like that's important to note.
I did feel bad. Like, we're gonna make John be a teacher in Dungeons and Dragons. Like, that's his actual job, but he seemed to really enjoy it.
I'm ready for it.
He's like,
get
I got
those
the lessons
full-size
already.
candy bars as rewards. You gonna give us full-size candy bars? Like you do your students?
Go.
Oh, you don't even do
Well,
that to your
I don't
students?
do it to my own kids. I'm too nice.
Banished.
You don't write up your own students. You're
I
right.
do. Every once
That
in a while.
one time.
As a tease, we even got handouts, like in real school. Like, look at all this stuff. We have written down all of our classes.
Did you finish your homework?
I did finish my homework, and I submitted it to you. You were saying it
You're
was
right.
very good, and you gave me an A+
I have
and a
not
gold
graded
star.
it yet. I'm sorry. I will update Canvas soon. Wow.
So the gold star was for nothing.
I turned my.
I need
gold
extra
for
credit.
But we will be having art coming soon as well for all our characters and our shenanigans. And then we'll also be doing a lot on our Patreon, as well as all of our other contact information that we'll get out to everybody, so you guys can come watch us and like and subscribe and all that good stuff.
We've got some delightful little Patreon gifts and things.
Yes.
Perks, incentives.
Anything you guys can give us would be greatly appreciated. We've done a lot to invest in this, and it would be great to see that people really enjoy it.
Do we want to talk at all about some highlights from the campaign this far?
Let me think about that, because there's a lot of things that I could say that would give away some things, but some highlights, some recurring characters. There's a group of Dragonborn that have kind of been making some trouble and doing some things that you'll hear about in the first episode. And they've been kind of running in with our intrepid heroes every so often. One of the main ones at this point is called the Butcher, who is a almost feral-looking white dragonborn with a giant maul, and he just loves to go ham. That is his favorite thing.
Mary loves the Butcher. Whisper hates the Butcher.
The Butcher is a very straightforward character, and I thought that was very good to introduce into the story as like the first kind of big hurdle.
I love that he has a handler.
He does have a handler, who's a bard named Ariel.
Which wife?
She's yeah, she's something. She's very commanding, if that's the kind of woman you like.
Whammon.
And apparently Butcher doesn't mind it, because so far, he's done pretty much everything she's asked him to do. And by asked, I mean yelled very loudly.
Butcher, we're going! Love her.
Yeah. So, I mean, that makes sense. A bit of mom energy going.
I love her.
Now, in order, if you didn't know, there's going to be a very dragon-centric campaign. There's already a dragonborn group of evil knights, and now, of course, let's transition into the good dragonborn that have come to Cliffhaven to kind of look over the aftermath and also to recruit our adventurers. They are a group of 2 metallics. There's a gold dragon called Assyrian, who's the leader of it. You'll have plenty of time to get to know him.
Both of us love Ace. Both of us.
There's a silver dragonborn named Ilardi, who also is she's very stiff. No one's really gotten to know her quite yet. And then there's a black dragonborn wizard with a gnarled staff and very suspicious movements called Korost, and he also hasn't quite been sussed out by the adventurers quite yet. But both of these characters should be well fleshed out by the time everything gets going, and we have a good little title card reveal of the name of the campaign. I think that should pretty much wrap everything up.
Yeah, I think that's about it.
We don't have any favorite memories or anything?
Favorite memories.
Because I specifically...
That time I rolled 2 natural ones and broke my
crossbow.
family heirloom.
Yeah.
So Des has 2 crossbows. That's part of the thing, right? The whole sheriff bit, like, because I was thinking about doing firearms, but firearms are unruly in D&D, and I was like, you know what, 2 crossbows, that's the kind of move, right? And so I decided that the 2 crossbows that I started out with were family heirlooms passed down to Des to deal the old spaghetti western justice and go on these crazy hijinks. And then last session, I was gonna shoot. I rolled a 1. Of course, rolling a 1 in this campaign means that you got to roll to see how the thing plays out with my mechanics and my weapons. And then I rolled another 1, and then my priceless family heirloom was destroyed.
It did explode.
It did explode in my hand, and all I could salvage was the frickin' hilt.
I suppose I should say that is another that is another little bit of a homebrew where when you do a critical miss, I make you roll again just to see how bad of a blunder happened. Like if you roll 1 and then you roll like a 18, it's like all right, so you just missed. It's fine, don't worry about it. When you roll 2 1s in a row, that's something bad's gonna happen. And I admit, coming into this, I did not realize that they were priceless family heirlooms at the time when I made them explode into a million pieces. And just one of them, by the way. But I also let him keep the side plating, basically the ornate part of the crossbow. So the only part that's really broken at this point is the mechanism. So it can be mended, it can be reforged, we can make it better, etc. But yeah, it blew up. That is what happened.
Nothing is sacred.
Nothing. That's very true. Nothing is sacred, including your life. So keep that in mind.
Oh no.
I gotta say my favorite memory is probably us first finding the jar of dirt, getting the jar of dirt.
I spent a lot of money on that jar of dirt.
And then you putting in, oh my gosh, pine sol?
Pine sol,
Pine
my
sol.
little tiny cleaning cube.
Yeah, a little gelatinous cube.
Yeah.
Pine sol is a small construct gelatinous cube that the state alchemist, whose name is Forrest, in Cliffhaven made just as a kind of way to clean up his shop when he's not around, and everyone loved it so much that I had to let them buy one, so we called them Pine
Hey,
sol.
he makes a lot of money off of those now.
Yeah, Forrest
Forrest is making a lot of
Forrest
money
is a
off
lot of money, and like
Oh.
to peel back the curtain a little bit more into the inner workings of the world. Remember when I said that whenever you channel any magic or anything from outside the material plane, something can go wrong? Fortunately enough, alchemy is not considered channeling magic from another plane. It is a stable way to cast spells, and therefore it is highly regulated. So every town along the way may have a state alchemist. If they don't have a state alchemist, then that means that nobody in that town is certified to handle alchemy ingredients, and those things are extremely expensive, and they're very low volume. So you can't just go into the town and say, hey, I want 6 healing potions. He may have 3 to give you, and if you want all that, he may charge you more. Fortunately, this group has made friends with Forrest rather,
Well, more than friends.
yeah. Yeah, Boris,
Somebody used the term
you know,
fuck buddy.
He's very into you.
well, that's how
John
it
just don't
is.
put out.
No,
Point
he
is,
doesn't.
Addie does.
he's been given the adventurers a bit of a discount because of how often they visit him and how nice they are to him. And he's just a tiny
fucking-
little green tiefling with little rabbit ear style horns and pink eyes, and he's very cute.
He's very cute. I love him.
But yes, that is another side effect of the arcane instability that permeates the material plane of this particular world.
Yeah, we love a potion that always works.
Yeah, especially like I said, especially when you're trying to do something and instead you just explode.
Magic always works when Grooms wants it to.
It's very true.
I don't know why you were confused
Praise
by
be the
that.
Grimsh.
Okay.
There's also a little thing that Adi does where she will sacrifice her opponent's eyeballs to Grimsh, and I'm sure this has been seen in the episode since, where I'll just do a little roll and I'll see like, what kind of thing would Grimsh give her for this? Could it be, temporary hit points? Could be some strength bonuses? Could be nothing. It could insult Grimsh, and she ends up, not being able to.
Be insulted.
Yeah, like I don't know. Maybe it just wasn't an adequate opponent for him, and he did not see it as a valiant victory, and instead saw it as a punishable
Sure.
offense.
Sure.
It's just all up to the rolls of the dice and also my whims because why
Yeah, mood.
not?
My favorite memory is Shaposh.
Ah, yes, the green dragonborn pirate.
Initially, Whisper is your stereotypical sheltered metallic dragonborn. She does not fuck with these chromatic bitches. She doesn't understand it. She is super biased and prejudiced. So she sees a green dragonborn, and hot as she may be, and she is, she was like, I don't know, I don't trust you, you're green and chromatic, and therefore we don't fucking get along. And Shaposh was like, you're a prejudiced bitch. Let me show you how wrong you are. She was swiftly schooled, and Whisper responded to that by being like, wow, maybe I am quick to judge people, but also, holy shit, is this pirate hot. So she had a threesome with Shaposh and Oridice when Oridice was still playing, and now Whisper has learned a thing.
And Shaposh gave you a little bit to remember her by as well.
Yes, she did. I have a little electrum piece that I will never spend on anything because I'm a little obsessed. Just a little.
And I no longer have a false eye because fucking pirates.
Listen, I've warmed up to pirates a little bit.
Fucking pirates.
It was quite the adventure on the high seas too. It was a lot of fun to be able to use the boat map.
It was
yeah.
a immediate reminder that I don't have any magic. I have the runes for Rune Knight, but they don't really count. So there were harpies that were flying above our heads, and I'd get to my turn and I'd go, well, I guess I'll ready a stab in case they come to get me, but otherwise I've got nothing. So there's definitely a big hole in Whisper's build where she doesn't have anything ranged. And I have yet to do anything about it.
Yeah, at some point you should probably you can't just rip off your arm and throw it at him, unfortunately, unless you're a zombie.
Or Buzz Lightyear.
Not everyone
Or Buzz
has to
Lightyear.
have range. It's fine.
Everyone else does. I just,
Whisper's like, grrr, damn you.
Get down here and get stabbed!
So we had you two's favorites?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
You just hate D&D.
I hate D&D. It's the
Oh,
worst.
dang, we've made a critical error.
Oh man, we've had like 5 people log out just then.
Oh, I mean, the stuff with Shaposh was really good. I had found a stone eyeball or something. Definitely tried to put it in my own eye because Addie sacrificed her eye to Groomsh, so she wears an eye patch. It was too big, and so I didn't want to give it up, and so I wrapped it in a chainmail shirt and threw it overboard, and then our Triton absolutely did wonderful and went and got it for me after he lost it.
Oh, me, yeah.
Yeah, and it was good.
A lot of indecisiveness in that little bit of role playing, but that happens. It's fine. Throw it overboard, go get it, bring it back.
Well, I wanted it eventually. I just didn't want her to have it.
Well, she ended up having it anyway, unfortunately.
Fucking pirates.
Yeah, she's just charmed
You
and
do fuck a
wild.
lot of pirates.
her way
No,
right
I
into
fucked
everybody's
one pirate
class?
and regretted it the next day because
Whether was there pockets for a
Fucking
fake eyeball or
I fucked sailors.
literally their pants?
Giardia.
Anyway, that's a pretty
the
good.
note of Giardia.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things where everyone's given their little 2 cents, and I think I don't want to give away too much more. I want everyone to kind of experience it and learn these characters on their own, because, like I said, you'll find that most of these characters will make their return at some point.
Yeah.
Never like throwing away characters, you know?
I just thought we would have a fun time talking about our favorite memories, so that
It was a
you know,
great idea.
behind the scenes,
Absolutely.
when
Awful
we do
idea.
like
Pit fan.
previously on, we have some bites that we can use on the
Previously on D&D.
That is the thing.
Dragon Ball Z, yeah.
That is the thing. Do the thing.
Thank you for
We
enjoying
hope to
session
see you
0.
there.
Like I said, we're
Where?
extremely experienced in this.
You
We're
out there.
so good
In the
at this.
internet?
Experts, in fact.
The
You're
internet is a
totally
wonderful
not
place. Come to join
Just a bunch
us.
of nerdy-ass nerds playing Dungeons and Dragons in front of cameras. Totally
Overeducated shitheads.
not what was going on here. We are not a bunch of Florida men.
15.
We are.
Actually, yeah. Whoever gets the highest roll wins.
Oh god.
Oh, we're rolling for what?
So we're
Exactly?
just rolling who has
Oh,
the best.
16.
Damn it.
19.
Oh,
fuck you.
Andrew.
3. Got him.
3!
Yeah!
We did it, boys.
All right.
I lost.
What did I win?
Hey, not
Oh,
by
I
the
get to do
worst.
the outro? That's fine.
Yeah.
Alright, guys. Thank you for coming. Thank you for listening to Session 0 of Name Redacted. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Hopefully you guys will stick around for the other campaigns that we're going to do. I'm not sure if we're going to do John's other campaign.
We do have another one.
We have another campaign that we're doing with 2 other people that weren't quite into the podcast, but we'll see if we can't get those characters into the podcast because we love those characters. They're one of
Oh
our
gosh,
favorites.
I mean, we've been playing them for close to 3 years now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's been going.
We've had them a bit more fleshed out, and they're a bit more comfortable. But we'll see if we can get some one-shots in with them. Until then, thank you for coming, and we'll see you at Session 1.
Oh, and thank you, Sirenscape, for the wonderful sound effects and music that you have that we may or may not use in future episodes. But thank you very, 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 very much. We appreciate you.